Welcome to Bits and Bob's Back Shop. Today we're going to be working on a Marklin 262 tank engine, and what we're going to be doing with this is adding some cool dual color LEDs. I made a little circuit board for those connections, and we're also going to be installing an ESU low sound basic decoder, part number 59020. If this interests you, stick around. I hope this is going to be a quick one. Okay, so I'm trying a different camera angle to get a little bit more side view. The camera is mounted to my lighting assembly, and it's a little bit more up and down rather than, where did that come from, than side view. So I removed the screw in the cap for body removal. Now, this locomotive came to me from a good friend, Bob. He bought it. It wasn't running. It was brand new in the box, and the grease and oil had solidified. So light bulbs work and the motor hummed, but it wouldn't move. Everything was seized and locked up. But we got that all cleaned out, and she's a really good runner. And these LEDs are going to take the place of the factory bulbs. And the factory bulbs are screw-in. Front one's missing, it looks like. But there are light pipes here that light up the front. And then there's just a bulb that kind of hangs out back here. That lights up the light pipes inside here. So it's going to look pretty cool. I've got a few ideas. I've already made a circuit board for all our connections for the lighting. We have our resistors that we're going to go ahead and use for the current limiting on the LEDs. And then this unit, unlike the Fleshman V60, there's this screw that has a tab that goes to one of the brush holders. So what I'm hoping is that once I can get this all apart, I can actually take this tab, disconnect it from the brush holder, and then solder a wire onto that to provide power for our decoder. But what our main function is right now is we're going to strip this unit down, see how much room we have, and I'm thinking that the decoder is going to fit right in the same spot as this factory light and noise suppression board. So let's get into it. So now let's unpack the decoder. And see what we can see. Okay. What about if we go this way? That looks pretty good. Looks like it'll even take up less space. No, vertical's not a good idea. So, but I can tell you, I was anticipating on using that screw for this guy. And maybe I'll just flip it over, maybe? Could be, possibly. Alright. So this is going to have to go in first. So that looks okay. What I want to do now is move the locomotive chassis, the decoder, off to the side. What I want to do now is we need that current limiting resistor. So let's go ahead and grab one on Lowe's. Set our resistor pile off to the side. And I'll be honest with you, I really enjoy making these circuit boards just because I hate heat shrink tubing. I use it only as a last ditch effort. And it just, to me, it makes everything much cleaner. Let's go ahead and tin the remaining of these. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So I guess what we're going to need to do is clip all of our wires. We don't need the 8-pin plug. Put that off to the side. And now this positive pickup, this pickup right here goes to this pickup. So that'll be our, what is that? This is going to be our positive or right rail. The chassis is our left rail. So what I want to do is connect this to the very last solder tab on this connector here. And what we're going to do is that's where our positive from the decoder will be soldered to. And there we go. Okay. So now this leaves our blue, which is our positive 12 volts from the decoder. And then we'll have white and yellow. Okay. For white's for forward, yellow is for reverse. And then the positives from the LEDs will get soldered to the other side of this resistor. Now let's clean up this motor connection here. Just give it a little. There we go. Totally lost my train of thought now. I want to move this connector to here. This way. Alright, yeah. Yep, that looks like it'll work. Oh, that'll work really well. Very good. And then this will be direct metal to metal rather than going through a plastic case. Okay. So there's our light board installed. The motor's now completely isolated from the chassis. And what I need to do is remove this capacitor. Okay. Okay. So now, if I have enough length here, let's see which way this moves. Alright, so that's backwards. That's forwards. So knowing that this is positive, this is where the orange lead has to go to from our decoder. So, okay. Now, going off of our install location, that's looking pretty good. Nice and tidy. Very nice and tidy. Alright, so first things first, we're going to need our red to go to here. So we need our motor wires. Red. Gray. And black. To go there. And we are not going to need our auxiliaries, but we're going to hang on to those. You never know. You never know what the future holds. Green and purple are auxiliary 1 and auxiliary 2. And then here are 3 light wires. Okay. So, let's kind of get an idea about where everything is going to live. Alright, so the blue wire is going to be our shortest. But we'll give it a little bit of length. Give that a quick tin. Now this is going to be the wire that's going to supply the constant 12 volts for our lighting. And we're gonna tack it on. Like this. Perfect. Then we're going to take our white forward and our yellow reverse, and we're going to put them into the 2 blank spots right here. I'm going to try and keep this super neat. I'm doing this all in real time. Okay, so now we have our blue wire, we have our yellow and the white wires, and then we have our positive right rail pickup. So next we're going to take our positive and get that going. Get the tangled jumble of wire mess out of here. There we go. I hate mess. I'm not a sorry about obstructing your view. Well, let's trim that excess off. There we go. So now we've got our negative, which is going to go up here. And this is going to fit in just like that. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So let's go ahead and get our negative ran up in there. We'll give it a little bit of slack. Okay, so now we have 4 remaining wires. This one will swing up and behind, and then we'll let these loop back. I am going to go ahead and clip my auxiliaries a bit shorter. Say about right there. And now I'll use a little bit of heat shrink just to kind of cinch all that together. I'll just take the soldering iron, roll it over. It'll shrink up pretty good. All right. So now these guys can come up over here. Now this is our positive motor terminal. This is our negative. So let's go ahead and trim this where we need it. That looks pretty good. Trim this one where we need it. Looking good. Whoa, shoot. Yeah, let's get that pulled back. There we go. It slid. Get it tinned and soldered. Okay. All right. So technically right now, this locomotive should work, minus the lighting. Running on DC. Then we could reverse it, because this decoder is DC as well as DCC. Alright, so we're good. Now all we have to concern ourselves with is the lighting. We'll start with the forward headlight, because that looks to be possibly easier. Put that screw in there. And then we'll take one of these fancy schmancy lights. Go ahead and go in like this. Just like that. That looks pretty good. In fact, rather than taping the LED, I think I'm going to come up with a piece of tape, Kapton tape, just for the front edge here to hold everything in place. Let me go ahead and clean the chassis there, just in case there's oil or other kind of residue. A little bit of rubbing alcohol. Okay. Alright, let's grab a little bit of our Kapton tape. Oops. that much looks pretty good. Now let's get this LED back where we need it. We could trim this side down slightly. As nice as this engine runs, I have yet to see the headlights actually work, because this thing needs to be full tilt in stock form in order for any kind of lighting to happen. So I'm a little stoked, won't lie. Okay, so now that's our front one. Now the rear one, that's going to be a different story. I've tried to come up with some ideas, but I'm hoping that possibly I could take the leads of this LED, stick them through the side connector here, because I believe this fits in like so. Yes, so we'll have a gap for the wires to come out and around. Alright, well, let's give that a go. Let's see what happens. Well, I sincerely apologize about that. Didn't realize that the camera had stopped recording, but you didn't really miss very much. To recap, all I did was take the white wire from the front and the red wire from the back, stripped them, twisted them, and then connected them to the front headlight, which is the white wire. And then I took the white lead from the rear and the red lead from the front, stripped them, twisted them, and connected that to the yellow reverse light output wire. And then I took the two remaining non-color coded leads, which are the 12-volt supply, or in this case really 3-volt supply, cut them, stripped them, twisted them, and soldered them to the other side of that resistor from the blue wire coming off the decoder. And that's really all we missed. It's done. It's done. It's ready to get programmed, and I'll catch you in a few. Okay, I have another set of these. This is obviously the red and silver version, but I do have another set in the cream and blue. This particular set I purchased off of, again, eBay. I got them for a really, really good price. It was somebody else's project and was half finished, and it wasn't at all anything right. Locomotives or passenger cars, whatever you want to call them, came all disassembled, wires everywhere, and I'll see if I could throw some pictures of what they looked like when I got them. They're off of my camera. Hopefully I can figure out how I can get all that done, but this has a basic decoder in it, ESU, loc pilot, just like the Marklin 262 tank engine. But I've done something pretty cool, and we'll turn on the headlights, and here's what the dual color LEDs look like. So they're white going forward, and then if I change direction, they go to red. Alright, and now I've designed it so that I use my auxiliary outputs to set up interior lighting, and I've programmed them for fluorescent lighting. There's our first car, there's our second car, and now we're going to pull away. They just glide along the rails. Change directions. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.